You're listening to Zoom the TBT with Charge and Hayner.
Hey guys, Charge here at Zoom the TBT. And it's always nice to have a former TBT champion on, and hopefully maybe a one-time again. Shaun Belbey, GM of Boeheim's Army. How are you doing today?
Doing great, Andrew. Appreciate you having me on.
Hey, I appreciate you coming on. It's always nice to have one of the high-end teams. And plus, obviously, already looking into this bracket. We're taping this Wednesday. The bracket came out yesterday. We're doing our preview show tonight. We will actually be cutting this to do after the preview show. So people can hear about our picks even as it pertains to your team because they haven't heard that show yet. But this bracket is insane and your team is insane. So first of all, I want to talk about how you were able to recruit what looks like one of the favorites to win TBT 2025.
Yeah. Well, we wouldn't be back. Obviously, last year we decided not to play 2024 and 2025. Adam Weitzman reached out to Coach Boeheim and I, put the two of us in the group chat around October, November this year and said, hey, let's do TBT this summer. I want to come back. And that's kind of how and why we're back. We wouldn't be back if it wasn't for him, helping out with our team. So obviously super excited to have him back involved as our chairman. Coach Boeheim has a huge role, and so does his wife, Julie. She's the reason that we're playing the games at home in Syracuse. She communicates with TBT all year, persuading them and trying to get the games in Cuse. So shout out to those three, but in particularly Adam.
So it's interesting because you said a lot in very few words there. You're very brief, but there's a lot there. So one thing I do like to touch on this cycle is there is a bit of a financial burden on the TBT teams because of the fees and things. So you talk about like what it means to have good sponsorship and financial backing of a chairman like Mr. Weitzman. He's been very good to the program, very good to your team. So like, how much does that help a team being competitive in TBT?
It helps a lot. Obviously, like you said, TBT is so costly nowadays, just with hotels and traveling, and then obviously, giving guys money to show up now is, one of the big things. Most of these guys missed out on NIL opportunities. These guys weren't in college when NIL wasn't a thing. So TBT has kind of turned into like, NIL, pay me to show up to play and then get rolling from there. So, Adam is a huge involvement in that. And like I said, we wouldn't, even have the chance to have a team if it wasn't for him.
Yeah, I mean, it's the majority, and TBT ties in so much to heavy college, major college athletics. It's such a tight tie between the two things that NIL and the financial wherewithal of programs is tied almost directly to the health of their TBT teams, to be honest with you. Speaking about being in Syracuse too, obviously a thing that's new this year is that we're basing home court on ticket sales. Now, obviously, one team as of this taping has gotten the home court throughout, which is Louisville. They've got the $4,000 to fill Assembly Hall already. I know that no other team has hit that threshold, but some more competitive others. So how confident do you feel that if Syracuse continues to sell tickets, you guys might be playing a few extra home games if you're able to get past your region?
Yeah, I'm super confident. I mean, we have 6 really, really good Syracuse guys, 6 really big Syracuse names as well. So I'm hoping that, Syracuse fans will continue to show support and buy tickets as soon as possible so that we can hopefully stay in Syracuse through the whole tournament.
And the last time you guys were in SRC, you guys did pretty well. You did end up, well, actually, no, that was the year you guys, let's talk a little bit of history of Boeheim's Army. So in 2021, the first post-COVID years, you guys ran a very good roster, and Kiefer Sykes hit a dream shot to knock out Team 23, one of the most competitive and exciting TBT championships in TBT history. Great win for the program. Boeheim's Army's first TBT title, looking for a second this year. And then, of course, 2022 and 2023, they got a little earlier. So going back to SRC Arena, where you guys were bounced at one time, how much does it mean to try to get revenge on your own home city and try to get back past that?
Yeah. It's going to be big for us. The home court advantage means everything. But like you said, last time we played at our SRC, we lost in the second round. So, hoping to come out on top this year, make it out of our region. And then if we have to move on and play somewhere else, we'll do that. But hoping to keep the games at SRC, up until the championship.
Yeah, it's a really nice venue too. I mean, I want to see it's like about, I want to say 6,000 or something. It's
yeah,
a really
I think
nice
6,000.
venue, actually. Yeah, it's a really nice venue. It's got a great crowd, really good spots to play, really, really good arena. So it's not the Dome, obviously, but it's about the next best thing you can get in
He def-
Syracuse in the summer. Um, Jim Boeheim is always lent his name to this. He's always blessed that he's always been a part of this in a small way. His role, while not the head coach emeritus, or being a head counselor, could you describe his role a bit? Because obviously he's not the head coach. Alan, you mentioned Alan Griffin, who's a current assistant at the Orange, is the head coach this year. But can you talk a little bit about what Jim Boeheim's role is going forward?
Yeah, he does a little bit of everything. He comes to our practices, our training camp, and helps out and gives myself and we'll give Alan Griffin ideas on how he thinks we should build out the offense and the defense based on how our roster is constructed. And then he'll shoot me a few names every year that he thinks would be good for the team. Obviously, like having him being involved, helps us get Buddy and Jimmy this year. But one guy that like no one's really talking about on our team is Noah Starkey, and he's the big man, played for OKC Blue this year, and he was not on the team. It wasn't on my radar at all until about 2.5 weeks ago, and Jim Boeheim called me himself. It was like, hey, you need to get this guy as soon as possible. He's one of the best big men I've ever seen. Played in the G League this year, and I think he would be a great addition. So, like, if you get stamped by Jim Boeheim, I'm not gonna say no to that. So, was able to reach out to Noah and was able to make it happen. So, I'm excited to see him. But Boeheim is more involved than people think he is.
Yeah, that sounds good. Also, it's funny you mentioned the roster. We'll talk about that we'll talk about it now, actually, because I'm looking at this roster, and Boeheim's Army's always had the best of both worlds. Some really great core Syracuse guys and a few we like called grad transfers in the TBT community. And a lot of things about this roster strike me. So let's talk a little bit. She mentioned Boeheim. We'll stay on the Boeheim. So first of all, Buddy, very high level G Leaguer, played for OKC last year, played for Moody Cruz, on the cusp of an NBA full contract many years. Jimmy Boeheim playing overseas, a do everything, 6'8" forward. So having skilled size of that, shooting and Buddy, and an all around game in Jimmy, how's that as a nice starting cornerstone as you start to build up the roster? How's it nice to have those sort of family members that also are such versatile and skilled athletes as a sort of starting building block?
Yeah, it's super nice. Obviously, their name is going to be on the front of the jersey and on the back too, which is going to be super cool. But like you said, Buddy was super close to getting an NBA contract, still is. He's one of the best shooters, was probably the best shooter in the G League this year, one of the best shooters we think in the world outside of the NBA. So we think he's going to have a really good tournament. So excited to see him suit up for the first time. And then, like you said, Jimmy is like 6'9", kind of Swiss Army knife, does a little bit of everything, shoots, passes, can put the ball on the floor. So he's been great for us, and excited to see him even have a bigger role this year.
Now, and that's great. And also, if you watch a lot of Syracuse basketball, if you listen to the show, you know that my second favorite team is Syracuse, because my partner, who's across that door, is a lifelong Syracuse fan. I'm a Memphis fan myself, so we kind of root for each other's teams when they're not playing. And I've watched more Syracuse basketball, I think, than any non-core Syracuse basketball fan in the last 26 years because of my relationship. So I grew up with these players, watching them as an adult, obviously. And a core part of any Syracuse team is size in the wing. So bringing back Elijah Hughes and Malachi Richardson, guys that can handle, guys that can shoot, guys that can really body up and play a defensive 3-4 as a big guard, as a small big forward. What kind of versatility do those two guys typically add, both knowing the chemistry of Syracuse's playmakers, but also the ability to body people and really be physical things on the wing?
Yeah, like you said, both 6'6", 6'7", but can both step outside and shoot three at a very high clip. So that's we're excited about that, to have shooting this year. We have shot the ball very poorly in years past in the TBT. So we hope that that's going to change this year. Elijah, playing for the first time in TBT this summer, has played NBA games with Portland, with Utah. So we think he's going to be huge for us. And then Malachi, champion on that 2021 team, was starting for us. We expect him to have a big summer as well. He shoots the lights out at 6'6". So he's a really good defender as well. So those two guys are going to be huge for us.
And sticking with the core Syracuse guys, for the last of the two of your six, you've also a core of any Syracuse team is having qualified size to rebound and throw their weight around. All the way back to Billy Sekulic or Ronnie Cycler, DC. a big physical 5-man that can score, but mainly is there to really just let everybody else run clean and defend the basket. And recruiting Christmas and Chris McCullough, you have versatile guys who can post, score, and body up. So how do they send to embody the physicality of the traditional Syracuse 5-man?
Yeah, Rakim, obviously huge Cuse name, is going to be really big for us this summer. He's like you said, a big body, really get back to the basket, which not too many teams in TBT have someone who you can throw the ball to in the block and kind of go get a bucket. So he's very good for us in that way. And then Chris McCullough, I think, is probably one of the most under talked about players in the TBT. Was really, really good on our 2021 championship team. Played in 2023. Was very hurt. Was battling through a very bad injury. Still, played pretty decent, but is healthy this year. And at 6'11", he steps outside. He shoots the three. He can handle the ball. He can really do it all. So expecting those two to have amazing tournaments this summer.
Now, having that core, by the way, of Syracuse players makes it a traditional grad team. Or a traditional alumni team. You want to have a core to be of the school. And your 6 you have from the school obviously are amazing, and they really are actual Syracuse players. But every team, even the ones that are high quality programs, has to get a few people to fill it out. Because it's very hard to get 10, 11 guys from same school. It's almost impossible because of contracts and things. So we do have the grad transfers, and you guys obviously got really good there. So I want to talk a little bit, having a former champion in Nick Perkins as a rotation 5 with Christmas and McCullough, like he's an absolute animal, one of the strongest players to ever play in TBT, almost uncoverable once he goes to the block. What dimension does that add as another just skilled, massive, and like a huge body with a huge motor? What's that add to your just physicality?
Nick is a beast, like you said. He's going to bring toughness, energy, that winning mentality, which is what you need in the TBT. Guys who aren't going to take a possession off. He can score, he can rebound. He's just he's a really great player. And I'm very happy to have him. He was on my list from the beginning this year. Got a chance to play him 2 years ago in 2023, and he had a great game against us. And, we're excited that he's going to wear orange this year.
Man, it's almost as if he should bring his buddy Clark to help out. I mean, maybe that's a call you should make. I mean, if the blue collar U's not running, maybe there's one more call to be had. You mentioned Starkey also being a quality player. He's somebody that's flying under the radar. But again, you now have 1, 2, 3. You have 4 qualified, massively skilled bigs, which is just an embarrassment of riches in the TBT level. We talk a lot about size, about a lot of switchable size, 6'6", 6'7", 6'8". One guy actually doesn't fit that template, and I actually know his game pretty well because, as people know, I'm a Memphis fan. So Jacob Gilyard played for that injury-cursed Memphis Grizzlies teams a couple years ago, where they have a 15-man NBA roster and a 16-person injury list. We were basically shooting up fans to play that season. It was a complete disaster. And one of the few bright spots I remember from literally one of the worst years the Grizzlies ever had was watching Jacob Gilyard transform himself from a guy no one's heard into to a strong G Leaguer 10-day guy to even a guy who really is a fringe NBA player. And if he was a few inches taller, would be a rotation NBA player. Having a guy like Gilyard, who only reason he's not playing the NBA is he's 5'9". If he was my height, if he was 6'1", 6'2", the guy's an NBA rotation player. Like, it's not even a question. So in TBT, where size matters a little bit less because it's really just a more skill game, how much is Jacob going to eat in TBT?
I'm expecting him to eat a lot. I've known him for 6 or 7 years now. We go pretty far back. And I've been recruiting him for years. Since he was in Memphis, when he got to Brooklyn, I've been trying to get him, and it just hasn't worked out. And this summer, it was just, perfect timing with his schedule. So I'm just super excited to have him. Unbelievable defender, passer, shooter, has NBA experience. Kind of like Perkins, has that dog in him, that mentality that you need to win games in the Elam ending when, everything's going to go wrong. And you need guys who are going to be able to play through that and make big plays. And he's going to be huge for us.
It is interesting because, and talking about the strengths and weaknesses of a team, you see so many strengths. You have shooting, size, rebounding, passing. The one thing I'll say is he might have to play heavy minutes because while Buddy and Jimmy and Hughes and Malcolm Richmond are a great backcourt, great wing set, it looks like you have one primary ball handler, actually, and it is Gilyard. So Gilyard's going to have to play a lot of minutes. How do you guys plan on stretching the non-Gilyard minutes from a ball handler perspective? It's going to be Richardson, it's going to be Buddy. Who's going to be taking the ball up when Gilyard has to sit?
Well, we do have Frank Mason.
Oh God! You know what? That happened today. You know what? I was thinking, yeah, I'm
Did
sorry. I'm
happen
sorry.
today.
Please, by the way, because
No,
I'm looking at the page, I forgot we're taping
yeah.
this today and this morning. And thanks for using my idiocy and forgetfulness to actually do a good clip here because I'm obviously just doing a lot today. Yeah, talk about the fact that Frank Mason of all people just got added too. Let's talk
Yeah.
about that for a minute. By the way, excuse me. By the way, you're subbing in Gilliard for just Frank Mason, just a great college point. So talk a little bit about that. Never mind.
No, I actually met Frank and Jacob the same summer through the same person. I think it was like 2018. So I've known them both for 7, 8 years now. Kept in touch with Frank as well. Like I said, kept in touch with Jacob, but I've seen Frank like almost every summer since then. Played in with the Kansas team last year. He dominated, and he was fresh off an injury too. So I was talking to him, for the past month or so. He was trying to figure out what was going to happen with the Kansas team. And we just, we really hit it off. He loved, our roster, the construction that we had put together. So he thought it was the best way for him to win a championship this summer was to join the Orange. So obviously he's a really great player, and Jacob and Buddy are going to be, the ultimate backcourt. So we're excited.
Yeah, this is how busy my day's been. People know I have a day job. You have a day job too, obviously. This isn't what we do for full time doing podcasts and crap. And I look at the page, I forgot. I was even talking to somebody like, oh yeah, they added Frank Mason. That's insane. I'm like, yeah, how you gonna spell Gilliard? Oh, just an all TBT level point guard, Frank Mason. Yeah, never mind. I forgot you just added a killer again.
Yeah.
Okay, just embarrassment, Richard. So that leads to the question. Alan Griffin's got the job of the head coach. How is he going to split these 36 minutes up? Like, what's the problem? What's going to happen here? Like, are people just going to play 8 minutes? Like, what's going to happen?
Hopefully not. We're going to rotate those 3 in the backcourt, pretty evenly. But we'll be able to figure it out. So I think it should be fine.
I mean, it should help the intensity because, when you can play an all TBT level like Perkins guy, 20 minutes maybe he doesn't even play half the game because you've got Christmas and McCullough and Starkey. Maybe you play Nick Perkins 20. Does that just give him even more motor? Like, hey, you're playing 20 minutes. Go destroy the world in those 20 minutes.
When you're out there,
this is an embarrassment. Yeah.
So give it your all when you're out there, and then we'll get someone fresh in the game to give it their all. But our backcourt, like you said, we're very excited. We think it's the best backcourt in TBT. So hopefully they bring us a championship this summer.
I don't think there's much of a question as things stand right now. This is probably the best roster we've got so far. Talk a little bit about sort of what has to happen next. Obviously, this is just an incredible team. What are you doing right now? Because obviously your role is to organize this and to help a little bit with making sure it's organized, make sure it's well coached, keep the train on the tracks. What are you doing right now? Like, first of all, hold up that shirt. What's that say?
Dallas Mavericks. Yeah. So I was coached this year with the Dallas Mavericks G League team, the Texas Legends, out in Frisco, Texas. Learned a lot. First year in the G League, had a really good staff. So since then, been helping out the Mavericks with their pre-draft stuff, and gonna head out to Vegas or Summer League for a few days before I head to Syracuse for TBT. But expecting a big summer for us.
Definitely. I'll see you at Summer League. I'm actually flying out there in a couple weeks myself to go watch some basketball. So, we'll get
Sounds
a beer
great.
pool, something in between calling games. You're going to be with Dallas, obviously. Cooper Flag, have they decided to trade the pick or what's going on there?
I think they're going to keep that pick.
By the time this gets cut, Cooper Flag will probably almost certainly, barring a nuclear war, be the #1 pick of Dallas Mavericks by the time this actually
for sure.
Besides you and me.
For sure.
Let's end on this. So you're not going to like this, but what you will have seen this by the time everybody else sees this. We did our prediction show, and I will just show it to you. Well, I won't show it to you. It's a waste of time. But so Charge and I usually do our predictions, and we're going to actually have the show later tonight when we tape at 8. It's going to be about 5 hours. But we don't do a great job of picking the winners, so it's not a great thing if we pick you as the champion. So I have some extremely bad news for you.
All good.
We both have you guys pick to win the whole thing. And it wasn't even a question. We actually both even had the same final game of you guys going to Louisville to play the Ville. So we made the same predictions that we think you're going to win. So you have to battle that curse. So I am very sorry for that.
No worries.
Hopefully. Yeah.
Hopefully we'll be able to change that this year.
Okay, last thing, and we'll let you go. So you're a busy lad. I want to get you back to the heat. I know Dallas is. It's cool there. It's got to be like what 70 degrees right now.
It's probably like 95,
It's got to be awful.
maybe like that.
Dallas.
Yeah, it's hot. It's hot.
Dallas is very temperate. We got to sell these tickets. What do the Syracuse fans need to know to show out to make sure you guys stay at home as long as possible?
Yeah, I mean, come out and see, some of your favorite past Syracuse players wearing orange, maybe for the last time. You never know. But we have a really good team. We appreciate all the support as always, and hopefully that we'll have some other legends in the building that aren't going to suit up, but they're are going to be there as well to show support for the team. And our guys are always really good giving back to the fans before and after the game with autographs, pictures, things like that. So we hope people come out, show support, and we'll be able to stay at Syracuse for all 6 games.
Yeah, that would be a really big story for Syracuse. And they've always been great, even back to like the earlier days. I remember when I have a picture of my partner with Akeem Warwick, and my partner is 5 foot 0, 1.5 inch, and Akeem is 6'9". So there's Yasmin's looking up at her like this, just looking up
so
at
funny.
Akeem. It's a ridiculous photo. So they've been a very good fan base team as well. So Shaun, thank you for your time. Really appreciate it. Looking forward to seeing big things from the Army. You guys have a very tough region, but it's definitely winnable. So we expect good things.
Awesome. Thanks, Andrew. Appreciate you.
Hey, thanks for coming on, Shaun. Take care. This has been Zoom to TBT, and we are signing off.
Hope you enjoyed listening to Zoom the TBT with Charge and Hainer. Subscribe to YouTube, follow on Twitter, and give us your money.